What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give the brother Vince a shout out for showing love to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect for you showing love to the channel. Once again, I salute you. And I see a video request. And it's a good, that's a pretty good topic. I'll probably talk about that later on this week when I get a chance, man. So salute to you once again for showing love to the channel. So Tracy Mcgrady recently came out and said that he is not a big fan of today's NBA. I'll put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. Tracy Mcgrady recently said to GQ, "I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of it," talking about NBA games. "I will watch playoff time when everybody is pretty much locked in. Throughout the season, no, I don't watch too much NBA. I watch more college basketball. It's more exciting to me. I like college basketball because they play hard, and it's competitive basketball. I'm not saying the NBA is not competitive, but it's too much of everybody shooting threes. You're jacking up and taking terrible basketball shots. I don't see that on the college level." Look. At the end of the day, I agree with these assessments. And it's funny because when I was growing up, I loved the three-point shot. I did. I loved it. But there's a such thing as too much of a, quote, good thing. And I've always made this comparison. I think you've heard me say it time and time again. If you're new, you may not have heard this before. But it's like with me and oatmeal. I loved oatmeal when I was growing up. Raisin oatmeal. Man, you give me a bowl of lumpy oatmeal with some sugar mixed in that joint, with some raisins in it, or some oatmeal and some raisins and bananas, cut up bananas. Delicious. Even when I was a preschooler, I loved oatmeal. But guess what happened? I started eating did I say Daddy Stiet? Terrible pronunciation. Give him a shot, Bill. Oh, terrible pronunciation of words. I'm Bill Walton. That sucked. Get together, Too Raw. Yeah, but I started eating a steady diet, much better, of oatmeal every goddamn single day. And by the time I was 10, I hated it. I stopped eating oatmeal for years, and it only started to become good again to me, I'd say, in the last 10 years. And even then, I don't eat it all the time. So I'm saying that to say this. It's too much. It's making players lazy. All they do is stand around and shoot threes. Honestly, how much cardio does it take? They're talking about how these guys move up and down. Yeah, you're not playing any defense. And you're standing around three-point line. How are these so-called athletes going to fare in the 90s? Yeah, it was a half-court game, but you're playing defense. You're in constant motion the entire game. And Lord, can you imagine these dudes? Could you imagine James Harden trying to guard Reggie Miller or Rip Hamilton throughout the entire game? James Harden would go into Chris Farley-esque convulsions. Maybe right now is not the best time to say something like that, but still, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't be in shape to play in a game in the 90s, even if it was a quote-unquote slower-paced game. He had to work so much harder to get his own shot out. Now look, some people might have an issue with the messenger here because Tracy Mcgrady wasn't exactly the best shot taker himself with some of his questionable threes he was jacking up. And you gotta remember, this is a guy that only shot 43% from the floor, even though he was 6'7". At least Allen Iverson has the excuse for half a foot shorter than the rest of the NBA, more than half a foot shorter on average. But still, the message is the same. Man. I don't like the game either. I follow it because, I like the NBA, but I can't stand the way they play basketball. I wish it would revert back to how they played at least 10 years ago. Look, the league average is what? 34 three-point attempts per game, 34 to 35 on average. You might have some teams that take 29, 28, 27 three-pointers, but then you have some teams that take over 40 a game. Well over 40. So, look, when Kobe won his last championship in 2010, the league average was 18 three-point attempts per game. That was not a bad ratio. You had a good amount of outside shooting, but you still had some post play, even though it was starting to fade a little bit, and you still had some mid-range play. Me personally, I prefer the NBA in the 90s, when teams took about 13, 14, 15 threes a game. You still had post play, and you still had the in-between game. And players had their own individual games, their signature moves, and what you saw from them, man. Everybody wanted to play the same. It's boring. It really is. It's boring. I remember when I was a kid, when a player took a three-point shot, you hear the crowd in the background go, because it was not something that happened throughout the entire game. It was almost like akin to presenting a home run. But I agree with Tracy Mcgrady here. So, tell me what you guys think.